Well, Joe Giudice has confirmed how much Teresa Giudice was paid for the first season of Real Housewives of New Jersey. That's right, we can exclusively confirm that Juicy Joe said that Teresa made $25,000 for her first season. Could you imagine having $25,000? That sounds so nice. Anyway, here's Amy and me from the Turtle Time podcast.
Juicy Joe coming through. Why? Who was talking to him? Why?
I'm not sure, that's the kind of stuff that I wish I immediately knew, but you're right. That is a huge question. I see the headlines, I see page 6, but no one tells me, where did this originate? Where did he go? I would love to, I would love if you and I got the chance to interview him.
Honestly, I feel like that might be possible.
I think, so I don't know where he said this, but he's making huge news. I mean, my Google alerts, my Joe Giudice Google alerts, they're normally kind of, it's sparse, but this one was huge. He's talking all over the place, and I don't know where, but these are coming in. And then he said $25,000. How do you feel about that?
That's more. Wasn't Bethany like 7,000?
7,000 total?
Yeah, for the first season.
Oh, yeah, I think you're probably right. I did the math on it. It was 10 episodes. There was lost footage, was episode 10 of the first season. I did the math, and I was able to sort of get a calculator out, and it was roughly around $3,000 if you count all 10 episodes, $3,000 per episode to make it 25,000. So I said, that's not too bad for the first season.
She didn't need it. She was paying $100,000 for furniture in cash.
That's true. Yeah. And Joe even said something like that. He goes, we barely made anything if you count how much money I was spending planning parties and buying a bunch of shit. I think this was on Gia's podcast.
Oh, that makes sense. We were just saying he should do Love Hotel. Since it's in Mexico, he can go there probably.
Oh, we did say that. Oh my God, he would be so good on that. Trying to strike the right chord with Juicy Joe to see who he would fall in love with. When you and I and some friends were thinking about possible Love Hotel congregants, it kind of opened up that concept to me in a big way. And I was like, just holy shit, all of the people that need to find love that would go to Love Hotel, it's almost endless possibilities that are fun if you really start thinking about it.
It's true. Yeah. Because they really just kept it to housewives, but it could be anyone.
It really could. So Juicy Joe, and then, I could barely even think of someone off the top of my head, but Juicy Joe obviously would be good.
Mama McBee.
Mama McBee, obviously, but I think, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think Mama McBee, one of my favorite new cast members, I think that she's taken. I think she has a partner.
Oh, okay.
But if they ever have a falling out, Mama McBee would be good. Maybe Steve McBee, if he's not happy with his life. Stephen McGee, or sorry.
All of them. It's just Love Hotel McBee edition.
Yeah. So, I just think now Love Hotel, start the season 2 casting immediately. Anyone can find love in that environment. It's such a great idea. And so Juicy Joe, especially like you said, and I got to say, I think they probably don't pay cast members $3,000, an episode anymore. I'm sure that rate has gone way up, but I still understand, why there is this tiered system for pay rates, in the Housewives universe, and why ultimately now Teresa she was making like $1 million, a season. So,
New Jersey was really early days. That was like the third one, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me, that thing. Juicy Joe was saying it. He's like, Gia, your head is going to spin when you find out what your mother made. But I was just kind of like, it didn't spin my head at all. 25,000. It's kind of like, what is that concept of how relative stuff is wealth wise? Like, just thinking, you know what I'm talking about? Like, just thinking of having $25,000. Holy shit. Like, what I would do with that money.
I wonder what the starting rate is for like the new Vanderpumpers.
Oh yeah, I bet it's in the like $1,500 to $2,000 an episode range or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3,000. I bet they're making roughly around $20,000 depending on how many episodes. I think it's an episodic rate.
Right.
So I don't know how many their episodes they're going to get, but I bet they continue to pay them not not a lot until they prove
until the
themselves.
reality reckoning comes.
Oh my God. Yeah, if that does come to pass. Well, besides that Teresa news, I wanted to say something that's kind of awful news, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Todd Nepola from Real Housewives of Miami. Sorry to just go right into it, but I have to. Todd, you sent me this and you go, Riley, look at what Todd is doing. And I said,
Your
no.
picker is off again.
I said, this can't be true. There's no news that is going to be bad around Todd Nepola after I spent weeks defending him. And no, it's bad as hell. Todd Nepola went, when I say this term, I'm not being hyperbolic. He went scorched earth on Instagram. He said, "Dear Real Housewives of Miami producers, I'm so pissed." It was a long statement, but he basically said, "I'm really, really pissed off, and I'm possibly going to sue you all really soon if you guys don't shape up or ship out on the storylines that revolve around me on Miami." What was before I say my complicated thoughts, what was your thought when you saw Todd pop his little head on Instagram and you saw that news?
I was like, here he goes again, with his front-facing videos that he always does. I'm also like, they're not really like saying anything about you except being like, are you guys getting divorced or not?
No, yeah, I agree with that. I was shocked. First of all, I think a part of me is just like, I don't want to deal with legal stuff anymore. You and I
Yeah.
are not lawyers. I'm not a judge. And I'm just so tired. I mean, I know that people obviously have the right to sue. Like I'm going to sue people in my life for sure in the future. I'm getting ready to launch a huge defamation lawsuit, but I'm just saying I don't want to talk about it all the time. I don't want all this shit. And I agree with you that Todd Nepola, what's happening on this show, Miami, regarding Todd Nepola, 90% of it was stemmed from Alexia's own words,
Yeah.
calling him a narcissist, saying that he deserves the death penalty, that he's one of the worst narcissists you've ever seen, and that he left Frankie crying in his house on his couch, and he gathered all the stuff around Frankie, and he moved out and left Frankie there until 9 p.m. when Alexia came home. Those are all the most defamatory comments that Alexia made about him, and he doesn't mention that at all in this statement that most of the defamation is coming. He said that he hates what Adriana said about him, which is attacking his wealth, which I'm not 100% sure why that rises to the occasion of like, you need to nip that in the bud so much with a lawsuit. But basically, I felt the same way, that I don't think that anything that is currently happening on the show warrants him needing to sue everyone involved, because it's ruining his reputation
Yeah.
so much, just,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
No, I mean, yeah, the stuff about the money, I feel like happened so long ago, like about when they had to move out of that other apartment or whatever. It's like the Streisand effect, where he's going to make more people talk about how shady he is by way of him doing this, instead of just like disappearing into the sunset.
Yeah, and I wondered about that. It's like, he does seem like such a person that wants to be in the spotlight in a way, and likes publicity. If you go to his Instagram, like you said, he's talking on camera all the time. He's been commenting on the current housewives. He made commentary about Stephanie, a new cast member. It
Yeah.
seems like he likes to delve into this reality television world, and it seems to sync up really well with what his current ambitions are as like a business guy who
Yeah, it's
imparts
like,
business wisdom.
just stay with your mojito wife and be on the show then.
Yeah, and he said that he gives it was a really long statement. I mean, it really tested the patience
10
of everyone
minutes.
involved. It was 10 minutes long, and I watched the entire thing, but it's hard to really say everything that happened. But he said that him and Alexia are no longer dating, but they did have a big, huge blip of dating in that the early season of filming. And Alexia did not warn him that the wrath of God was coming for Todd, which I think is purposeful, because Alexia knew that she got the ball rolling, because she's the one who started her storyline being about her and Todd's breakup. And then she's the one who had that big dinner where she talked all about him and said how awful he was. And it's not really anyone else's fault that they picked up the ball, that Alexia started rolling down the hill and said, "Hey, you just said that Todd is one of the most awful people in the world.
Right.
And now you're talking about how much you love him." So I don't really know. It's like, if I was thinking about Jody. And I was like, if Jody wanted to be like, hey, you said that I sniffed a big line of coke. Turtle
Right.
Time said it. You implied my eyes were bulging out of my head. I don't do coke. And
Yeah.
also, it's bad for me to be saying that I do a bunch of coke. It's an illegal drug.
Yeah.
I have coworkers or whatever. It's like, where is the line? And would we expect Jody to just disappear? And we were like, remember that guy who did a bunch of coke and then we never saw him again? Like, there is this world where there is a little bit of defending yourself if you are a part of the public spotlight in a
Yeah.
way. But where is the line drawn?
I can't wait till we get our first subpoena.
Oh my God.
Like
But
Blake Lively subpoenaed like all of these TikTokers and bloggers for saying anything negative about her because she wanted them to testify to the fact that they were prompted by a smear campaign,
oh, wow.
which
Yeah.
isn't true.
Well, no, probably not. Well, we'll get one of those eventually. But
If anyone wants us to smear anyone and pay us for it, we'll think about it.
yeah, what's our smear rate? I was thinking like,
Yeah.
I mean, 10.
Payola.
Yeah.
Little $10 a word.
$10 a word payola smear. I was thinking, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, if you want us to smear an enemy, DM us.
A full LA Confidential type of thing.
Oh my God.
Wasn't there like a newspaper, like news payola going on? There was like the tabloids were involved.
What's his name? Danny DeVito. I forget what he was called. He was such a little total sinker, kind of pencil behind the ear, big hat
like
on.
Smitty.
And he goes, if it doesn't, if it bleeds, it leads. Smitty.
Yellow journalism.
He was a total yellow journalism proponent, and he really had no journalistic ethics. He would pay people to get the dirt on someone. So yeah, we could enter a world exactly like that. But I was just bummed out for Todd because to me it made Todd seem very like I think that it showed a side of Todd that I didn't really appreciate, which is that he seems really tuned into this world. It seemed like he really was reveling in it. He loved everything about it to the point that he still talks about it constantly.
Yeah.
And then the minute that one whisper of like Adriana saying he's not as rich as he says he is, which to me is like the least defamatory thing in the world. Who cares? And also it's like it's sort of the court of public opinion of once it gets on Bravo. What is Bravo supposed to do? When Adriana goes, I heard that Todd rents his Rolls Royce, are they going to put an asterisk on the screen and say, guess what?
Yeah.
Sources are saying that there's a contrary evidence that Todd just got a huge real estate deal for $25 million. It's like, it's not up to Bravo to refute these things in real time. It is for the cast members to refute and work this out. And I don't think any cast member should be liable for what they say on this show to a degree. And I don't think that Bravo should be liable for what the cast members say on this show to a degree. And I don't think that Todd's warrants this at all.
No, it's so flop. Like, I feel like this is going to not be good for Alexia because they're going to be like, all right, you're introducing too much bullshit into our realm. Actually, goodbye.
I think so too. Yeah. And it's not going to look good either when the narrative gets really cloudy when she's trying to explain what happened with Todd at the reunion when Andy is trying to get the answers.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember that time that that she was she even a housewife or maybe just a friend of brought up that Terry, that like she had sued Terry for malpractice and Heather was like, I'll fucking kill you.
Oh my God. She goes, get this demon out of my house and take all the sushi she touched out with her now. We're throwing it all in the garbage and she has to go in the garbage as well. Oh yeah, there was definitely, Heather had a line for what could not be uttered on the show. And Terry having plastic surgery lawsuits was definitely something she deemed inappropriate.
And that is like a zone of terror of something that is like could ruin your credibility if people are starting to be like, oh, he's like a botch job surgeon, like that is scary territory.
I think so too. And we're sort of in a zone of terror with OC, which we've been talking about, where it's like, no, stop. Don't say that kind of stuff. This is really damaging. And I wish that
not bad.
It's really on the cast members. It's on the cast members to be, thoughtful enough to see what rises to these shows and to do what is not defamatory, which Tamra is learning in real time after what she did with last season. So I don't know. I mean, I'm conflicted because it's also like, how defamatory can we get? Can you just say that like someone we've never seen in the past before on Housewives, like Adriana's ex-husband? Could Alexia now say that guy was a total piece of shit? He was evil, like just to get back at Adriana? And then what would his response be to that?
I mean, we love that kind of shit. Like prostitution whore is like the basis of all housewives. Like the cop without a badge, like what shit she was up to in the past. Like the whole point is to like dig up people's old shit and be like, that's not who she really is.
Yeah, you're right. And then it's just like, okay, well, I don't know. I don't know where this goes, but for me, if I'm drawing a personal turtle time line, I just don't think that this is the proper avenue for the end of the Todd era. And I was a little embarrassed. To be fully frank, I thought it was slightly pathetic. No offense to Todd. And it just showed, how much he actually does care about this whole thing. And the final nail in the coffin for me was when he also had to talk about their ratings as if it matters at all. He was like, and just so you all know, you pieces of shit, this is a low-rated Bravo program. I was like, what does that have to do with anything?
That's
that doesn't
like the Trump move.
Totally. It's like, and also this is a shitty show. But he did take a specific umbrage with the Frankie stuff, which I kind of agree with him that I was here standing on my podium saying, Todd is probably not wrong. I believe that there are aspects of his story that are not being told truthfully, and it's up to me and you to argue, and people in their households to argue about whether or not we believe that Todd left Frankie standing in a hallway with two bags, and he said, see you later, Frankie, I'm not going to see you for a while. I don't think that happened. And I think that it is more fruitful and worthwhile for people to have that show be the arbiter of the truth and try to defend themselves in that arena, or at least let us be the judges of it rather than suing everyone whenever their name is uttered.
Yeah, that's the problem when all the fun stuff happens off camera. It's hard to judge.
Yeah. All right. Well, Todd, let us know. I mean, you can say stuff back. I didn't mean to call it pathetic. It was a little embarrassing for me personally, who defended you. I was like, man, you really love this stuff. Like, you are having the time of your life. You're rolling around like a pig in proverbial shit right now, that you get to sort of like lay the hammer down on these producers. And I didn't like how petty he got, to be honest.
Yeah, no, he's untrustworthy.
All right. Well, I got to say that I just exhausted all of my news. Teresa cast stuff and then the Todd stuff. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about else?
No, I just saw Lindsay Hubbard is in the Hamptons, and she was like blowing off some steam in Montauk, and I think it was her birthday. That makes sense, right? That's when her birthday is. Yeah, she's a Leo. I remember that. So Captain Lee commented like, happy birthday, kiddo. I hope it's the best of all time. And I was like, oh, he's totally Team Lindsay. Remember when he was like, Carl is a freak?
Talk about shit we'll never know the truth about that I fully defend Carl about. I don't know what the hell Captain Lee was talking about. I think Captain Lee got really confused that day. Somebody put a blindfold on him and spun him around his podcast studio, and he started looking around going, where's Carl? And they said, I don't know. Carl dropped out last minute. And he goes, I hate Carl more than anyone in the world. I was going to marry him and Lindsay, but now I think he's a narcissistic piece of shit. That was the oddest feud in the world to me, and I hope Carl can make amends with Captain Lee. I don't know what you did to get.
I'll say, I'm totally guilty of being biased in that scenario where I'm like, some Captain Lee. So we can talk through this. I know there's a misunderstanding.
There totally is. That's the easiest. Settle this beef or whatever. Sit in your beef. That's it.
Squash.
Squash a beef. Andy Cohen Squash a beef BravoCon, Captain Lee and Carl. That thing is going to be the highest rated Peacock exclusive you ever have. I don't.
Yeah.
That is a huge one. I think it was a complete misunderstanding. I know Carl now. He is a catch more flies with honey than vinegar type of guy. He hasn't said one bad word in 2 years ever since he got publicly damned by everyone in the world. And I don't think that Captain Lee thing happened. I'm stating it definitively again right now. Captain Lee, you misunderstood something about Carl, and I don't understand why you're Team Lindsay. That means that he's kind of trying to test his little toes in the water, not little toes, put his big seaworthy toes in the water to say, I like Lindsay still. I hope people report about this, that I'm Team Lindsay.
Yeah. I was just, we always talk about how we, when we're really desperate for news, we go to page6.com/Bravo.
Of course.
And first of all, there was a McBee, like a sort of not even a McBee, but like one of the characters, Galena. She was the top headline of someone they had interviewed. And then I went like 2 down, and it was what Love Hotel star Earl Thompson would have done differently in Shannon Medora relationship. And he's in studio.
He's on, I think he's on virtual reality,
They're working their ass off over there.
They're amazing.
Revolving door.
It's really, it's virtual reality, Nick Vial Files, and then I think there's a couple others, and then Turtle Time is officially the circuit that Bravo celebrities can go on. But yeah, virtual reality is really opening the doors.
They're getting Earl on there.
Yeah, I mean, we already said maybe Juicy Joe, maybe Earl can do another spin on ours. Captain Lee.
Maybe we should set our bar lower if we could just be like Earl.
I think it's hard for Earl. I think it's hard for us because we started at the Holy Grail pinnacle, and it kind of if it was like I'll just say it's like Wes Wilson, and then our annual next one is like Earl from Love Hotel. It's people will be like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this.
Grace.
Well. No offense to Earl, but I think if people would be like, "Oh, that's the annual," they'd be like, "That's happening."
Yeah, we've hyped it up too much to make it Earl. But speaking of West, okay, so spoiler, probably judging by what our title is, that we're going to talk about McBee Dynasty. I've been thinking about West nonstop, and I'm like, they need to put him on the Bravo watch party to watch McBee's because he's a Missouri boy.
Oh my God. Oh, I didn't even think about that. But now that McBee exists in the universe, everything ties back to McBee. Just like you said, Galena on page 6, it's like, oh my God, a new world just opened up from us now watching
The doors
McBee.
have ripped off.
The hinges are off. The cow or the bulls have left the barn. It is now, I was saying there's Turtle Time pre BC McBee. And what's it? Post AD McBee? We are now, you and I have done all of the work. Like, who does research like this? We
I'm seeing that image of Hugh Jackman from is it The Fountain when he's looking up and there's the light.
That's what it felt like to me. It felt like we got to that final big tier of the fountain. Have I told you my fountain story? That I saw the fountain in theaters, and it got to the end. Spoilers for The Fountain by Darren Aronofsky, the 2005 film. I don't even remember. And it's like a bunch of people and a bunch of radiant beams of light, and they're on 7 different stages of the universe or something. And I go, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. This sucks so bad. I hate Darren Aronofsky. What the fuck did I just watch? And 2 seats down to my left, a guy was crying at that ending, just bawling, crying because it was so beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, has there ever been a more diverse reaction in a theater in the history of time between how I felt about that ending and this guy? Yeah. But I don't remember if it was supposed to be impactful or not.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Caught Stealing though. Think it looks fun.
Me too. And I give he's a what's that called? He's got a 50% batting average. It's like one is the worst movie you've ever seen in your life, and one I think is kind of good, like Mother, Black Swan.
They're re-releasing Black Swan for the anniversary.
Oh my God.
I think it's like oh God, how long has it been?
Holy shit. I couldn't even think for 1 second when that came out. But yeah, I like The Wrestler, Black Swan. Then he does the biggest dog shit you've ever seen, Noah, and then he gives you shit again. And then it's Mother, which was awesome. I thought Mother was so fun. But that's Darren Aronofsky. But I agree with you completely. Us watching McBee is exactly like when Hugh Jackman gets that final tier of The Fountain. And now we're in a post McBee era on Turtle Time because you and I both went nuts. Ever since you and I knew that there was nothing on Tuesday, I'll just be honest, we were freaking out. We were going, what the hell? We need a Tuesday episode or a Wednesday episode. People
Yeah.
love it so much. It's the crown jewel of the Turtle Time enterprise. What's going to replace it? We go, what about that thing we keep seeing about McBees? Where did it come from? Who are they? And then I'll just say personally, I went nose to the grindstone or the
Yeah.
whetstone, and I watched 7 episodes of season 1 of McBee, and I think you even went even further into the McBee Dynasty.
I did all 10, and I did a little sample platter of like I was scrolling through the watch party because I looked for like moments that I thought were funny to see how Brittany and Kristen and Craig and Austin reacted. So I just wanted to get a little taste.
You finished the full first season?
Yeah, I woke up this morning in time to watch the final 2.
Oh my God. I mean, Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rose VIPs, let's just take a pause here to acknowledge the work that, well, Amy did specifically, and then, I mean, me a little bit. I want a little pat on the back. I did 7 episodes. Amy finished the first season. We're obviously going to keep talking about McBee. You know, I don't know how we're going to fit into the programming, but I assume that we'll be caught up right when it ends, just like Next Gen NYC, and then we'll have nothing else to talk about. But it is, I thought it's a very fun show. I was ripping through it, and just like you, I mean, I'm going to obviously continue on into season 2 to see what the hell is going on with these McBee boys.
Yeah, it has that thing that like Vanderpump Rules had at the beginning where somebody was like, you gotta see what the fuck this family is up to, because with or without cameras, they're like insane. Like Papa McBee is a figure like I've never seen.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen this sort of, I don't think we've seen this type of character in the universe before. He is a man who was married for 28 years, and he just got divorced a year and a half ago, and he obviously was cheating his entire time on their wife. They had a horrible, horrible marriage, and now he disdains the idea of marriage. He never wants to be in a relationship again, and he's sowing his wild oats, I'd say, all over town in a way like I've never seen before. It really epitomizes what a midlife crisis can be for a person. I'm seeing one in real time.
Yeah, and he's poisoning the minds of his sons to be like, women will ruin everything. Like, they could take down your whole life. You don't want to commit to the wrong woman. And so they all have all of these long-term, like every single one has a long-term girlfriend that they won't commit to, one of which they were together for 10 years at this point, and he refuses to get engaged. Spoiler, by the end, he finds his way. But they all are like, there's multiple moments with each of them where they have a sit down with their girlfriend that they've been with for years and say, let's make it official. Like they've been together for years.
Yeah, so there's something keeping these McBee boys. They're afraid of intimacy, and also Steve McBee, or Papa McBee as we like to call him, is also disdainful, extremely disdainful of these relationships. And at one point he's like, I don't know if I can give my son Stephen McBee the keys to the castle because Calla then will get the keys. And he's really even using their relationships with the significant others to sort of have them question their position in his McBee dynasty. So first I want to give a little bit of background before we get into the full thoughts. Okay. McBee Dynasty, this hit like I want to say it again, a big cow that gets out of the barn and storms out and starts wreaking havoc on all of the grass. This is stuff that happens in the McBee Dynasty, so I'm using a lot of these analogies.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what the hell this was. You and I said, McBee Dynasty? Who are these boys? There's a cowboy show on Bravo. And here's why this made the cowboy hats start spinning on our heads. This was a Peacock original that was created to sort of take the wind out of the sails of the Paramount Taylor Sheridan Yellowstone. Yellowstone is one of the most popular shows in history.
Yeah.
And Paramount is raking it in boatloads of cash from this what's his name? Taylor Sheridan empire that he has. So Peacock looked over there and they go, we need immediately. Let's use our reality television bona fides to find a Yellowstone slash Succession, you can
Mhm.
argue, I guess, type show, but really it is trying to be a reality television show that is centered in the Yellowstone universe, and they are doing everything they can to make this seem as if it is like a companion piece to Yellowstone. All
Yeah.
of the original press was about it. This feuding with the government, as if the government is going to take over their land at any minute, and there are helicopters swarming all over their heads to take
Yeah.
their ranch, is all a Yellowstone response.
Okay. Yeah, because when it opens up, I'm glad that it kind of chilled on that attitude because when
Yes.
it opened, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like
Yeah.
extreme don't tread on me vibes. He's like, we got more enemies than we can count. And I'm like, why? And there's a headline that flashes that says like FBI raids McBee Ranch. And I was like, what the hell?
When? When did they? Okay, well, let me just, before I get into that, let's talk about it now. So I think that every aspect of that was completely juiced up to make this comparable with Yellowstone. Early in the season, they say the meat inspector just got here. They've got their goggles on and a big meat inspector sign on their heads, and
They've got a target on our back.
and they're really taking their time inspecting our meat conveyor belt right now. And then they show, I swear, the fakest footage I've ever seen of someone that says meat inspector on their shirt, and it's completely fabricated. And
They're like, this is not looking good.
Yeah, they go. He goes, the meat inspector is really grinding my gears today because they're inspecting all of the juices, and so I can't go to. I don't remember their first trip that they go on
The
first.
McBee ball.
The McBee ball with you boys, because the meat inspector's really having their way with all the grinders in there. And then there's a fake helicopter that swarms at one point, and they go, that's the second black helicopter I've seen swarming over. And then they also pretend that people are stealing a bunch of their shit all the time, which I'm like, there is no way that people are getting away with stealing $100,000 worth of trucks from your ranch, and you cannot figure out how to get them back.
Yeah, there's this whole like fake ass thing where they have footage of a truck and like a trailer getting stolen, and then they just go around town. Papa McBee's like, I'm gonna kick somebody's ass when I find out who stole our shit. And they just like are roving around, and they ask one guy off camera if they can search his garage. He's like, sure, I don't care. Like, I didn't steal anything. Go look. And he's like, that's all you need to say.
He goes, you have officially wiped your hands clean from me. My boot is no longer going up your ass. If you were so willing to let me search your garage for no reason, then I declare you innocent. And then they never talk about that again. And then also they, like you just said, after around season 3 or 4, there is no more government inspections. They're not talking about who's trying to take down the McBee Ranch. They do allude to the fact that there are people that don't like the McBees, because once Steve McBee or Papa McBee started going around town, he got wealthy enough to where he was buying up properties, and people would be like, McBee, please, this is my family land, even though it's for sale. And McBee didn't give a shit. He goes,
Pottersville.
Total, what was Potter's first name? Mr. Potter. Total Mr. Potter mindset, trying to create Pottersville.
He's like, it's McBee.
Yeah. And so I don't argue that I think that these Gallatin residents are disdainful of these McBees. You know, it's like they're the hot shit in the town. They got the McBee shirts. They have these.
Yeah, they wear merch at all times. Hat, shirt, necklace, like tumblers.
Yeah.
Everything.
Okay. And then at some point, Bravo, I don't know how this decision was made. NBC said, hey, we want McBee Dynasty to get a boost, and it's not doing great as a Peacock original. We want to put it on a network. Bravo, I think it syncs up really well, the family dynamics, the reality show aspect. So it became officially a Bravo property. And now the McBees are calling themselves Bravo Celebrities. And then that's why they had those watch parties to introduce us to the McBees through the eyes of Craig Conover. Brittany Cartwright has declared that Jesse McBee is the hottest McBee. So it was kind of like sanctioning this as a Bravo property for the second season. And then that is how it officially got on our radar now, and why we have deemed it essential to the Bravo universe and why we should be talking about it.
Yeah. I had heard from a few people that they were like, because I think when they announced that the second season, it was on that big press release of like new stuff, including I think Next Gen, like when they were like we were like McBees, like what the hell? And then I was talking to someone at the gym and they were like, low key, I watched the first season of McBees on Peacock and it slayed. And I was like, that had always been in the back of my mind because it was someone I trust. And I have to say, like, I really enjoyed watching it.
I did too. One of our Villa Rosa VIPs said McBee Dynasty is a masterpiece, I fear. And I've always thought about that as well because I think it is great. And I forgot about that launch of those 6 shows where you and I said, Love Hotel, what the fuck? McBee,
Yeah.
Next
Valley, Persian style or Shaw style, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah. So McBee, I think, so McBee Dynasty, I officially think they lost that colon that said Real American Cowboys. That was not doing them any favors having that sort of explainer. You're just the McBee Dynasty. It makes all the sense in the world. Once you watch one episode, you don't need to know they're Real American Cowboys at all.
Yeah. No, it has like just like top like over the, top thoughts. Like it's produced, I don't want to say overproduced, but it's like it's got a lot going on and plenty of it feels a little fake and like plotted out like but it's like well made.
It's very well made to the point where on the first episode, because I'm so used to a specific Bravo aesthetic, I was a little jarred by what was going on in season 1. And that's because it probably wasn't a Bravo show at that point. It was trying to replicate the Bravo format a little bit. But I kind of was like, is this a scripted show? It felt really like clean and too clear cut. All the narratives, all the drama that was already introduced in the first episode. But then it becomes a lot more realistic once you see that there are these dynamics at play and you realize that nobody could be faking their asses off this much. And they also do a lot of things on camera that you're like, no one would want that to be seen, especially the shit that Steve McBee starts to do. He's making himself look like a very repugnant figure towards the end of season 1. I haven't even seen the end of the first season. So let's say, so who are the McBees?
Like each one.
Well, I want to say, for my first thoughts are that I think that everything about the connection to Yellowstone is a little overstated. I honestly think the McBees are more of a car wash empire. And by the 4th or 5th episode, you see that they have a very successful car wash franchise called McBee's Coffee and Car Wash, which they look amazing. They look like
they're shiny as can be.
They look like a 50s diner, except it says McBee's on it. And those are now, when you realize that that's actually where they're getting all of their money from, and all of the expansion stuff they're talking about is all about the car wash. The ranch is almost like a superfluous sort of like aesthetic choice for vibes to make them look like the ranch boys, the McBee Dynasty ranchers. Yeah. But they have actually made all of their money from the car wash, and that's not something that is introduced. I don't think until the middle of the season that's how they make all their money.
Yeah, it's that was like a red flag to me, based exclusively off of my knowledge from Breaking Bad that you use a car wash to launder money. But can I give you a spoiler?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So for the people that haven't watched it yet, there's hanging over the entire season because they want it to be like Succession or whatever. They are trying to get venture capital of $100 million to expand their car washes because they need it to be like X number of locations for it to be like a leader of the pack. And the thing that happens at the very end is that the deal falls through and they're like, we may lose the farm.
Oh my God. They literally bought the farm. Steven says it at some point on this.
They say it like 10 times.
Yeah. And they also allude to this huge deal that only Yelena knows the ins and outs of, but it's about to be ruined by, we'll say, the first huge reveal of this show is that Steve McBee, the patriarch of this entire family, he's been divorced for 1.5 years, but he is in an active relationship with Galena, the CFO of the McBee Dynasty, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah, they play it. It was the first thing that hooked me in. They have them doing a business meeting, and you feel like there's a little vibe or something, and you're like, what's going on here? And then cut to them waking up in bed in the morning, and that was one of the moments that I watched for Craig and Austin and Brittany and Kristen's response because they were shook.
Really, they were?
Yeah, they were like, oh my God. And they like, I'm kind of want to know more backstory. So she's the CFO. She owns 10% equity of the entire company and they're fucking. So like that's teetering on the edge of disaster the whole show because you're like, she should absolutely leave you. You treat her like total shit, but she has the future of the company absolutely in her hands. Like if she just quits tomorrow, she runs everything. So it's like a horrible idea.
A horrible decision, and you never really know, or at least I don't up to this point, like where the truth lies in this dynamic between them. Because Galena also seems like she's accepting the bare minimum of what Steve offers, and he's told her that he cheats and has not extramarital, but relationships with people all the time. But then Galena keeps trying to be more in a relationship and solidify it even more, despite what Steve McBee is saying. So there's this tension between them the entire time. And then you find out gradually that Steve McBee is dating people in Nashville. He's got a girlfriend named Brooke, who seems like a wonderful person. And so that is probably one of the most the conflict that is propelling the first season the most is that dynamic there. And I had no idea. I mean, I've already spoiled mostly everything because I started wading into the season 2 stuff, so there's no real spoilers for me, but I think this is going to be a spoilery conversation, so if you haven't watched McBee yet, be careful because we're going to say a lot of shit about the entire arc of McBee.
Yeah. So, no, there's major tension, and Galena and Brooke have a showdown like a couple times where they're like cussing each other out. And he does nothing to assuade this drama. All of the sons are like, Dad, what the fuck? Like, this sucks. Like, they're all traumatized by his behavior. I think they all are very aware that their relationship issues come directly from him. I mean, he literally talks shit about one of their girlfriends who he's like, she won't let you answer the phone. If you're running a business, you need to answer the phone. Like, she's gonna ruin everything. He's like, I don't trust her. Like, he's like sabotaging. He wants to be BFFs with his sons and like literally doesn't want girls in the way.
Yeah, and he wants his midlife crisis in his party era to coincide with his son's party era. So he's actively doing things that are going to be detrimental to their relationship, like taking them on, I think I got to 3 boys trips that they take in the first season alone. They are on a trip almost every 2 episodes. And in those trips, they're drinking their asses off. They're around a bunch of people because Steve McBee is flirting with women constantly and trying to have sex with all of them. And he wants that for his sons as well. You can see that. There's no barrier there. He doesn't care at all if his boys cheat on any of their significant others.
He would like encourage it. Did you get to the Nashville one? I think that's either the last one you saw or it's the one right after you saw.
Yeah, I'm currently, just so everyone knows, I'm currently in the Nashville era. Cole and Steve had a little bit of a dust up where they were pissed at each other. And then they went to this beautiful nightclub or something, some concert. And then there were 2 twins that were making out actively.
What the hell was that?
I have no clue. Well, I think that there is another aspect of the McBee dynasty that is interesting to me where it's like, we're sort of used to what the Housewives franchises do, and there's a little bit of a formulaic nature to all of them and Vanderpump Rules. But I feel like McBee Dynasty is sort of like a light to a bunch of mods that aren't seeing reality television all the time. And I think a lot of these people are seeing the McBee boys being filmed by a reality show, and a lot of people are just gravitating towards them because this is a very odd outlier thing that is happening in all of these environments. You know what I mean? So I thought that was why those twins were saying, we're 2 twins and we're going to kiss nonstop on camera, and we want to take Stephen McBee's shirt off and start trying to kiss him. That's actually where I ended, is right before Stephen McBee. He's got his shirt off and it looks like he's like, these twins are so hot. I want to have sex with them so bad, but Calla will not like that.
Is that still like where culture is at, that like we think that guys want hot twins to make out?
Well, Stephen McBee was attracted to it. Steve McBee was attracted to it. I kind of said, this is not something I've seen in a while. And I forgot that apart from like American Pie movies, that this is anything that even exists. But a part of me was also just like, I think that they are showing us a world that I have never seen before, which is a huge, I think for me, it's compelling. Just like watching Real Housewives of Miami is compelling because I do not know what the pool halls are like in Missouri. And I don't know what this Nashville life is like or all these places. The Montana trip was,
Yeah.
beautiful in a way. So I do like the peek I get into this different culture that I have no firsthand knowledge of.
Right. Yeah. It's like them going to Nashville reminded me of like the way they talk about the guys going to Vegas on Vanderpump, where it's like nothing good can happen. Like you're not allowed to go to Vegas anymore. And like when they go to Nashville, it's like absolute chaos. Like they're so drunk and like there's just girls everywhere. I think it's the episode right after that they're still in Nashville because Papa McBee has a girlfriend in Nashville also, or some young, she's like 25 or something. She flashes the camera coming into the house, and then all the McBee boys wrestle on the rooftop.
Oh my God. Let me just say again, I have not seen episode 8 and I cannot wait. Turtle Time needs to end right now so I can keep going on McBee Dynasty. I gotta see Cole and Steven and Jesse wrestle their asses off.
They're wrestling, like they're having fun. It never gets like actually fighting, but they're like blackout. And then Papa McBee, who apparently went to bed at one point, runs up in his boxers and goes, "God damn it, I've had enough. You need to cut it out."
Oh my God. Okay, so we've said some salacious tidbits. I also want to get into what I find to be one of the most interesting aspects of McBee Dynasty, which is this relationship between father and sons and between the brothers. It's not Succession. Obviously, it's not like Succession. Nothing is like that, but they do play up who Steve McBee is going to bequeath his dynasty to.
I'm like, he's like 50. Like, why do we need to worry about this right now?
Right. No, it's not happening anytime soon, but there is sort of a realistic part of it where I do think Steve McBee is the kind of person that is trying to leverage his power to make his boys work their asses off for his favor because that he has that sort of weird energy with his boys where he's competitive or whatever. And it's obviously very clear that the golden child is Stephen McBee Jr., the love of his life, his beam of shining light. And Cole is not the son that he favors in any way, but Cole is the one who has the work ethic and sort of that X factor energy, whereas Stephen McBee, you could argue, could ruin the dynasty because of some poor decisions in the future.
I feel like Cole is like Papa McBee's shadow. Like he's like his little like id who like acts out and like is a drunk and is like loves the land and like working with the land, but is like a total shit show. And then Steven Jr. is like he's buff and like presents as this like cowboy, like almost like Tom of Finland. Like he's like he really looks the part and he's like buttoned up.
He's so buff. I mean, we got to just say it now. He's really buff.
And he was on, the way he met his girlfriend that his dad hates was on Joe Millionaire.
Yeah, apparently there was this new iteration of Joe Millionaire past the first season. It was canceled because it was such shit. It was called like For Richer or Poor or something, and it was 2 co-hosts, and he was one of them. And he meets up with the other one in Nashville. So he already has a little taste of reality television, and maybe that's what made him want to jump at the chance of filming. He's like, our ranch is perfect fodder for reality television. And he already had sort of an entree into that, to like get the show made. But I got to say, Cole is really the little stinker that started getting me to to make my eyes sort of roll back in my head and my ears perk. And I said, I like what Cole is bringing to the table here. If this was a show populated by 3 Stephen McBees and Papa Steve, I think it'd be a little boring.
PR driven.
And Cole does provide a little bit of the friction there because I'm kind of like, what's this former quarterback boy that works all day in the field that has this chip on his shoulder, but he's also kind of rough around the edges? What's he going to do? And one of my favorite scenes that I've seen so far is when Cole finds out that Stephen McBee, huge spoiler, this is big, Stephen McBee sends $10,000 to $20,000 to Kayla because he's so wealthy that he can just give Kayla big buckets filled with cash. And Cole learns that from his girlfriend. And he goes, how the hell? Based off my paycheck, I could never afford anything close to that. He can barely survive. So it causes him to go right up to Stephen McBee in his big fancy office and say, Stephen, what the hell is going on with the money at the McBee Ranch? I deserve so much more. And then you really find out where the power structure lies here. Stephen McBee is obviously making $100,000 or something, and Cole isn't making close to that at all.
Yeah.
And he thinks that he works much harder than his brother. So that's all
Sure.
very interesting shit to me.
Yeah, totally. But I am like, he does like manual labor.
Yes.
And his brother like runs the books and like pays the loans and like orders the supplies and shit. And I'm like, yeah, like that is more important. Like
right. No, regardless
like,
of what Cole says, and also if you take into account that the car wash empire is 90% of their wealth, and then the ranch is 10%, a sort of a what's that? Yeah, then obviously maybe he's just playing it up. But I also, if I was a brother like Cole, and I found out that my brother has this gilded office with big antlers, and he's being paid enough money to send $20,000 flippantly to his not even girlfriend that he's declared, I would have a grudge against it. And I'd be like, I'm ready to work past the all of my outdoor activity to try to rise up in the ranks. So that is a believable relationship with a brother, for me.
And by the way, they all have houses on the land. They like have so much acreage that each brother has a little house somewhere on there. And then some of them have condos. Like I think Steve Jr. has a condo in Kansas City, and then Papa McBee has a condo in Nashville. And I think Steve Jr.'s girlfriend or whatever lives actually in Dallas, and she flies out. So that's part of what they need to commit to, is like if she's going to move out here or not.
Right. Yeah, so it's so I think that overall I think every aspect of what is going on McBee wise is working for me. I mean, especially I guess Steve McBee sort of being this saboteur, where his horrible decisions during his midlife crisis could cause this empire to fall. That's basically the conceit of this show. And it's up to the McBee boys to save Steve from himself.
Yes, that comes to a head in the finale. They have something called the Corn Star Awards, where they spray painted like a plastic corn stalk that's like 1 foot tall and gave it to the best farmer they know. And Papa McBee had just gotten the news that they weren't getting that 100 mil, so he got absolutely sloshed and was like cursing in his speech and was like just being a total piece of shit. And everyone was like, "What the hell is going on with him?" And that mama of the ranch, the like motor mama, Tessa was like, "I just looked into his eyes and knew that something wasn't right." And then Steve Jr. goes, "Dad's left. I don't know when he's coming back, but everything's in my hands for now." And then it like ends. And it just shows Papa McBee driving.
Oh my God. What the hell will Papa McBee do next? And for McBee heads who are already 8 episodes into season 2, Amy and I don't know the future yet, but don't tell us because we can't wait to find out about this. Yeah, I mean, how else did you, anything else notable to talk about this?
Yeah. I mean, it has just that thing of like, certain plot points are, they're using certain tent poles to prop up like the storyline, the overarching storyline. But within it, it's like, he's literally like an alcoholic womanizer, like undeniably. Like he just cannot not act that way. And he just, at one point when he is stressed out about one of the business deals, he's like, "I'm surprised I don't have more of a drinking problem."
Yeah. Yeah, and he's actively a bad influence on all the boys, like we said, and all of the significant others of the boys are resentful of of Steve McBee, and they even will say comments to him like, your dad needs to step up if he wants to figure out what he's doing with Galena." Like they'll throw barbs back at him because there is this contentious relationship between them. And I mean, Steve McBee is just a horrible role model overall. He's like the worst person in this universe. And the boys are sort of having to either indulge their dad's bad behavior or work up the courage to chastise him. And Cole is kind of the one who's the only one who can call his dad out. But even he is a little worried about doing that and fears his dad in a way because his dad is like, one step away from possibly like punching his son in the face or
I
something, at
know.
least on that Nashville trip.
Yeah. No, it's like an interesting dynamic because they're completely obsessed with him and defer to him and like honor him, and their lives are so intertwined. Like they all work in the same place, like they talk like all day, every day. But they also have to suffer the wrath of the shit that their dad gets up to, and they're over it, but they also are like have to stay in line.
Yeah, totally. And there's also, that concept in like art where it's like, who is the person that is missing? Like every movie or book, there's one person that's like not there that is actually impacting all of the characters' decisions. I don't know what that concept is called, but it's like You Can Count on Me. It's like you watch that movie and they're just doing a bunch of stuff. And then if you just remember that they're the children of two parents that died, that like the parents are haunting everything about
Yeah.
this. The hidden person in this narrative is Braden,
Yes.
the fourth boy, who, at least in my era, you don't hear from him at all. You don't know. You know that there are 4 McBee boys, but he doesn't make an appearance, I think, until the 6th episode. And he has this sort of even more fraught relationship with his dad, where the McBee 3 are more enthralled and enchanted with their dad because they spent these summers during this horrible relationship with their dad, and he kind of has a spell on them, and they know that they might be the heirs to his empire, so they have to placate him. But Braden, it seems like, knows his dad was horrible and never had those formative times with his dad where Steve McBee could shape him, and he's not even in the running for the empire, so he didn't even want to appear on camera, at least for the first season. I don't know if he pops in a little bit towards the end, but I know that he becomes a cast member season 2.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
He
sure.
says at one point they had like a barbecue for I think it was for Papa McBee's birthday, where they give him a cowboy hat. And that son says that he spent most of his time he was the one that like stayed with the mom.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't ever as close. And they invite him on the Montana trip, and he's like, I don't know, like probably not.
Yeah, it sounds like he just doesn't really have the same relationship with his brothers because of those formative times when he was staying with his mom during the divorce, and he doesn't have that relationship with his dad at all, which is kind of an interesting dynamic too, that we're not even hearing his side mostly, but I think we'll get that. And then another person that is in the periphery that they don't even mention or bring up, for the most part in season 1, is Mama McBee.
Yes.
And now I know officially, based off listening to the McBee Dynasty podcast, that Mama McBee is going to appear on season 2. And from what I saw on the podcast that I watched, Mama McBee seems pretty fun.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down for that dynamic to enter the fold.
Me too. I think that finally we haven't really heard what a nightmare it was to be married to Steve McBee for 28 years. And his moral character, he's not.
He's like fucking T-Rav.
Yeah, he just doesn't have a strong moral compass. He seems very childish, to put it lightly, immature, and
Yeah.
I
No
don't know.
accountability.
No accountability, and I don't know what it was like being married to him, because Mama McBee seems to have a good head on her shoulders. From what I could see in the podcast, I haven't seen season 2, but I am excited to hear what her version of things were, being married to a nightmare Papa McBee like she was for that long. And I bet there was infidelity, if I was guessing one thing.
I hope she got a shit ton of cash, because I think she was there the entire time he earned that empire, because part of the backstory is that they used to live in like a dirt road like shack, and then he built this billion-dollar empire, which honestly, as you watch it, I'm a little concerned about the financials. Like they have a lot of loans out, which I know is part of business, but like they're expanding at a rate that I don't know if they can defend.
I agree with you completely. And I said to myself, Turtle Time, we always try to offer practical advice for any new Bravo celebrities that enter this forum. McBee family, it's time to just put out one easy product that has your name on it, that sells all over the world. I would probably do like some McBee whiskey or something. Just slap your name on a pre-existing whiskey.
Take over Tom's Good Lovin'.
take over Tom's Good Love, and that's an easy thing. Whatever their source was, you just put a McBee whiskey label over every single unsold bottle of Tom's Good Lovin' or whatever. I just think that there is a way for McBee heads to instantly, you need just like one easy item that we can all get sort of ironically that like Amy and I could purchase right now at Bevmo or somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll start raking in the cash. I looked at their website. Right now they're selling a bunch of merch, which, you know, our shirts are on the way. It says McBee Ranch and Cows or something. There's a bunch of different shirts, but they also sell these big boxes of meat, like smoked meat or something. That's not the easiest thing for me to get involved with. I don't want to imagine the McBees like Cole slicing cows' heads off and killing them and smoking the meat. You need one easy, fun thing for the Bravo universe heads to indulge in. So that's all I'll say.
I think I'll say, I mean, I know it was Peacock first, but Peacock is still has that Bravo sensibility to it where I don't think that they're ever going to, like, this show is a bit of an outlier vibe wise, and I'll just say to anyone that's worried that it's too MAGA coded, which was a concern of mine going in, it really never touches that third rail. In the last episode, Cole's girlfriend does make wear a red hat that had me a shiver down my spine, but it said "Make America Cowboy Again," and I was like, well, I still don't like it, but that's at least not what I thought it was. So it never, in the first episode, I was like, I don't know about this with all of the like anti-federal government shit. I thought it was going to be a little too like close to that kind of stuff. And it really, it's not. It's fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then they do, like you already stated, that element of the Yellowstone element gets surpassed once they get Cole and Steve McBee out on the road in a pool hall drunk as two skunks. They say to themselves, this is what we like. This is why it's on Bravo. They get Galena and Casey to go bowling, and they start talking shit about what's going on with Galena and Steve McBee. Casey is the one who tells Cole that about these $20,000 checks that are going to Kayla. So that is sort of propelling it, and it becomes much less about that kind of weird government surveillance shit and more about personal dynamics, which we all love to see, this kind of weird stuff that's going on between them all.
Yeah, and I do find Galena as a character quite compelling. Like, she's a big part of the show. She's Russian, and she came here on what we know as 90 Day Fiance viewers, a K-1 visa, and she's like, or as you call it, a mail order bride. And I was like, you said it, not me.
I said that too. I said, you said that, not me. So we can say that in the future. Yes, she came in as a mail order bride. She says it. And then when she was like, 19 or something, she came here. And then around 34, I think she said, this is a horrible marriage. I was too young. She quit. And then she just fell in love. Huge cartoon hard eyes for Steve McBee. And the relationship, or why Galena has such affinity for Steve McBee, is one of the great wonders of watching the McBee Dynasty, especially when he actively treats her like shit multiple times in every scene. He's rolling his eyes. He's saying, I won't stand for this anymore. If you push one more button on me, Galena, you're going to be out on your ass. And she's like, so when can I move the rest of my stuff in your basement? And it's like, oh my God, what is happening here?
Yeah. And one of the bombshell things that happens is that for some reason, I guess like everything that Papa McBee owns is like up for grabs. Like they're all, Galena's car was in the shop for a scratch, and his side piece, Brooke, her car broke down. So he goes, I got a car, or a vehicle. They all keep calling it a vehicle in the shop. Go pick it up. And you can use that one. It's Galena's car. She fucking crashes it immediately. So Galena shows up to the shop and she's like, what the fuck happened to my car? My boyfriend's girlfriend crashed my car.
Crash barely defines it. It looks like it was lifted 100 feet up in the air and smashed onto pavement, flying to the earth. It's so wild. She gets stunned when she sees that her Escalade was totaled. To me, probably one of the most shocking things, besides, I don't know, everything that Steve McBee is doing, was that, of all things, Brooke borrowed Galena's Escalade that Steve McBee authorized, and she crashed it within 12 hours. She totaled it
She
within 12
totaled
hours.
it. He goes over to her house with his tail between his legs, and she's fucking furious. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, this relationship is so fucked up. You, like, gave her my car. She crashed it. Like, what do you have to say about this? Like, this is horrible. And he goes, then if you don't like this scenario, then get the fuck out of it. And I'm like, that's not okay.
It's horrible. He goes, that's the last ultimatum you'll ever give me, and now I will leave. It's like he's awful to Galena, and Galena sees some beautiful thing in Steve McBee. She calls him what's up, handsomeness, every single 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then there's a moment where Steven and Steve are like talking, and they go, Galena's looking at us. And then you see Galena, and she's just looking at them, and they go, Galena's watching, say hi to her right now. And then she goes, what? And then they both, like, there's just such a nervousness around what is going on with Galena and her dad's relationship, like it's a bomb that's about to go off.
Yeah, I think they must have like trauma bonded at some point, because she doesn't totally. There's been whispers that's come up a couple times that like she had a horrible childhood, like she's from like the Soviet Union, like she's been through like crazy shit. And then in one of the last episodes, we find out that Daddy McBee, a palm reader, told his mom that her third son was going to be a huge pain in the ass, like a horrible child. And she came home and she was like, she already had vibes that he was a wild child and she was sick of him, and apparently kicked him out at the age of 12.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I do need more information, but something fucked him up, so I'll take it.
Oh my God. Holy shit. Well, I can't wait. I'm going to, I think we're both going to keep on this McBee journey. I don't know when. Hopefully we'll be able to, talk about it at some point. Maybe we'll just do a part 2 if we're not able to catch up, before it actually ends or whatever. But I think that no matter what, I'm going to finish this thing and be caught up, and I hope they get a season 3. I mean, depending a little bit on how good season 2 is, but I imagine if Mama McBee is there, if Braden is there, I'm excited to see what's going to unfold in this dynasty.
Are they going to BravoCon?
I was just...
Talk about fish out of water.
The idea of us going to one of our favorite bars in, I forget that hotel that we kept going in, and seeing Cole McBee standing at the bar, ripping it up, drinking
doing a two-step
whiskey and Coke. I'm going to be on the floor screaming, saying, Cole, please, can I get your autograph? I'm just so glad that it was actually worth us this endeavor, and that now really truly I am going to think about the McBees once a week, hopefully for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was excited, and it was an incoherent smattering of thoughts. So hopefully if you haven't watched it, you're intrigued to watch it. Or if you did, you knew what I was talking about at least.
I hope so too. It was just a bunch of McBee thoughts. And, Amy and I just are covering this Tuesday shift until we get that beautiful, Wednesday
Salt
shift.
Lake.
Until we get that beautiful Salt Lake, which is going to come back like a freight train. Turtle Time will be amazing, of course. But for now, on Wednesdays, we're going to talk about McBee. And
what if this is like, it skyrockets? Like, this is like our highest listened episode of all time.
Well, what would we say to McBee heads who just listened to Turtle Time for the first time and they were like, whoa, this podcast called Turtle Time just talked about McBee? I think if they were listening, they would say they gave it a ringing endorsement, right? I mean,
yeah, welcome
McBee heads. Right? I mean, welcome McBee heads.
I mean, I was looking up certain info, and I ended up on like the McBee Reddit. I don't know if it was the McBee Reddit, but on Reddit, people talking about McBee. And I was like, yeah, like it's all the same fodder as everything else. Like, people watch this.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Well, yeah. Once Steve McBee started doing what he was doing and Cole started doing what he was doing, I said, this is just like a show that I would watch.
No, it did feel like it was kind of fun because, like we've been saying, like, the housewives have been getting a little bit fatigued. Like, I think everyone on Twitter, from what I've been seeing, agrees. I keep seeing tweet after tweet about Orange County losing the plot and like the blogger stuff and like stuff that's off camera and just like nothing to grab onto. And I'm like, this reminded me of when I used to just watch everything. Like, I watched TLC, I watched E, I watched MTV, I watched Bravo, I watched everything. And I'm like, this is like a show I would have randomly watched and been like, no, it's good.
Same here. Yeah, even without that official Bravo stamp, I would have probably checked this out at some point. Yeah, I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. If anybody's on the fence, the McBee Ranch fence,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth diving in. And there is, like Amy just said, there's such a formula to what we see now on every Housewives franchise. It's like, when's the national trip coming? When's the international trip coming? When's the first all cast event? The McBees put a big bomb in the ground and they let that thing blow up. And they
go somewhere like every week.
They go, we just got back from that one place. Let's go to Nashville and then we'll go to Montana and then we're going to go somewhere else. They don't care about the structure of typical seasons of any Bravo show. And so it's refreshing in that way, for sure.
Yeah. It did have me thinking about where Missouri is on the map because everywhere they go takes so long.
Yeah.
Like every time they drive somewhere, it's like 300 miles to go, 500 miles to go, like 24-hour drive. I'm like, damn.
And McBee Dad makes them drive because they're either getting cows or bulls or then they just drive for no reason to Nashville. I don't think they like to fly.
Yeah, damn. They got some buffalo. They had every episode, there's a new plan they're hatching. They're buying some either livestock or a property, a piece of land. I'm like, can you guys like chill?
I know. Yeah. Well, that's Mama McBee. Sorry. Okay, we're wrapping up. Mama McBee did say they all agreed that they had too many fingers and too many pies. And Mama McBee is telling them to scale back. And they said they're taking her advice on that one. Do you think, would it be too much of a fall from grace to have Cole McBee as our next interview guest?
I don't know how great he is as like a on-air question answering personality, but we could give it a try.
Sounds good. All right, I'll reach out to his reps. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we'll whatever. We wanted to talk about McBee. We'll figure out how it exists in the Turtle Time universe going forward. But we decided we were champing at the bit to talk about McBee. So that's what we're talking about here. Please, Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs, have you watched McBee Dynasty? Did we convince you to? Did you say, after listening to that, I will never watch this show in my life? What the fuck was that? Either way, let us know where you stand on the McBee Dynasty line. And let's end this now, Amy. I mean, yes. Please.
We did our duty. We, came up with something in a pinch, and I think I'm at least happy I had a reason to watch it because I thought it was great.
Me too. No, I loved it. And it's the first one of those shows like the Bravo Love Hotel that we kind of put our nose at or whatever, that we actually had the chance to give it the due diligence, the Turtle Time once over. And I'm glad we did. I mean, it is going to be so fun when we're finally in November at BravoCon. We see Stephen McGee and he goes, he takes his cowboy hat off and he tips it to us and he goes, I heard you guys on Turtle Time. Thanks so much for your kind words.
You said Stephen McGee. We should take a photo with Stephen McGee and Stephen McBee.
Oh my God. If Stephen McGee and Stephen McBee go to that same bar that we always go to at BravoCon, that's a photo that people will treasure for a lifetime. I'm so sorry. I meant, Stephen McBee, if he takes his hat off.
My head would explode like a fembot if I saw both of them. And I was like, McBee?
And what if they didn't know each other? They were both at the same bar and they were at other sides of the bar. And then we said, you and I were sitting between them. And we said, hey guys, we got a huge thing to tell you guys right now. And you know what I mean? That could be, that would be one of the biggest Turtle Time scoops ever that we got to introduce him. But anyway, that's for another day. We'll talk about that. But anyway, please, for the love of God, please go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify right now or YouTube and write a comment. Give us a thumbs up. Write us a review on Apple Podcasts. Go on Spotify. Write a comment. Those wonderful little things that you do for 10 minutes or 5 minutes out of your day really helps Turtle Time. Give us your thoughts on the McBee Dynasty. Comment and say, whoa, I watched this shit and what the hell were you guys talking about? And then also, if you want even more commentary, if you're a McBee head and you said, whoa, their takes on Stephen McBee and Mama McBee were very insightful. Is there more of an avenue to hear commentary like this? Well, yes. Amy and I have a Patreon. It's called the Turtle Time Patreon. And for $5 a month, if you like McBee Dynasty, maybe you'd like our recap series of Vanderpump Rules, where for $5, you get access to our entire run of recapping Vanderpump Rules from season 1 to we're halfway through season 7 now.
Yes. Yeah, it's good shit over there. Highly recommend. Fun little community, and Vanderpump Rules never gets old.
I completely concur, and that ends our discussion now of the news and of the McBee Dynasty. We'll be back on Friday talking about OC in Miami, which that's commentary that everybody loves. And then, we'll be back like clockwork, and obviously our Monday episode for our Villa Rosa VIP. So we'll see you all very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.